Taco John's Fish Taco. My filet is fierce, flaky, fearless, topped with fajita sour cream and a fist full of flavor. You don't think I'm for real? Just try me. Taco John's, unwrap the original.
Taco John's, Princeton.
I'm not like other tacos. I am Taco John's Fish Taco. My filet is fierce, flaky, fearless, topped with fajita sour cream and a fist full of flavor. You don't think I'm for real? Just try me. Taco John's, unwrap the original.
Taco John's, Princeton.
Clarksville's Bridgestone Metalfa is a great place to work, but don't take my word for it.
I'm Tyrone. I'm with Bridgestone Metalfa. I've been at Bridgestone for a total of 17 years. The reason I'm still there is dependable income, opportunities for overtime, awesome bonuses, excellent benefits, and a great working environment.
If you'd like to start a career at Bridgestone Metalfa, visit our website at metalfausa.com.
It's day number 7 of the KHSAA imposed spring dead period due to the coronavirus pandemic. It's brought a stop to high school sports in the state. Last night, the KHSAA released a statement saying the ticket refunds for the Sweet 16 are available. However, they added the Sweet 16 remains postponed and not canceled. Stay tuned on that one. As far as teams go that didn't make the Sweet 16 this year, we're recapping their seasons and taking a look ahead to 2021 at yoursportsedge.com. On the guys' side, read about the seasons of Christian County, Trigg County, and Hopkins County Central. For the ladies, read up on Caldwell County and Dawson Springs, and we'll have more recaps of more teams in the second region in the days ahead. We also have a couple of senior interviews from Trigg County Arrowcat Lucas Holsizer and Heritage Christian Academy's Meredith Crunk. We'll be looking for more of those in the days ahead as well. It's all at yoursportsedge.com. And while you're laying around practicing social distancing, go to yoursportsedge.com and take a look around. Take a look at the different features, including the Max's Moments, the Spotlight Athletes, and check out each individual sports page and get caught up on some things you may have missed before everything came to a crashing halt in the sports world. It's at yoursportsedge.com. I'm Scott Brown reporting.
Raider Auction Company is owned and operated by Delbert Raider. Delbert has been in the agricultural field for over 40 years and is well known for his knowledge of used equipment. Raider Auction holds 4 consignment auctions a year, and they buy and sell equipment on a daily basis. If you're looking for a piece of equipment, they'll do their best to locate it, and financing is available. Contact Delbert Raider at 270-881-2610 or Amy Ezel at 270-604-2880 for all your used equipment needs. Raider Auction Company, Skyline Drive.
Pennyrile Home Medical is the only company located in Western Kentucky that stocks all your home medical equipment. Power wheelchairs, beds, oxygen, braces, diabetic shoes, CPAP, stair lifts, ramps, vehicle lifts, walk-in tubs, and thousands of other items, all at prices that beat the internet and other stores. If your doctor or hospital prescribes equipment, tell them you choose Pennyrile Home Medical. Local quality service for over 35 years. Call 1-800-445-8002.
The final Associated Press basketball poll for the season was released Wednesday. Kansas ends up with the final number 1 ranking. Kentucky is 8th. Between them, Gonzaga was at number 2, followed by Dayton, Florida State, Baylor, San Diego State, and Creighton. And rounding out the top 10, Michigan State at number 9, Villanova at number 10. Duke was ranked 11th, Louisville's 14th, Auburn, the only other SEC team, ranked at number 20. Rick Pitino now says, yes, he did deserve to be fired from Louisville. Pitino, who had said for 2.5 years that all of the things that went down in Louisville were not his responsibility, now preaches a different tune. He told radio station WFAN that he's changed since the firing. He says now that instead of making excuses, he should have just admitted, quote, yes, I hired them. I take full responsibility. He went on to say that he wished he'd handled things that way. Pitino was hired by Iona over the weekend. We think of Pitino and we think of all the troubles at Louisville and that they're over, but they aren't. The NCAA has yet to rule on the Adidas scandal. The title the Cards lost was over Strippergate. And the heat is about to come up on the Adidas scandal again. A new HBO documentary entitled The Scheme premieres in a couple of weeks. The central character in the documentary is Christian Dawkins. He's the guy at the center of the FBI's investigation into bribery in college basketball. In fact, here's 3 seconds from the promo airing currently for this documentary.
They said to me, we want you to give us Rick Pitino.
Keep in mind that if this summer the NCAA adds a show clause ruling toward Rick Pitino, he could possibly not be the Iona coach next season. The scheme debuts on March 31st on HBO. Congratulations to Wildcat great Randall Cobb. After starting his career at Green Bay, then spending time in Dallas, he's now signed a 3-year, $27 million deal with Houston. Cobb has had an injury now and then, but with this contract, he's guaranteed nearly $19 million. UK basketball great Bill Spivey was born on this date in 1929. Footballer Marty Moore turns 49 today. That's it for your Thursday. Visit wildcatlair.com or join us on Facebook. I'm Eddie Owen.
There's some surefire things you get when you deal with Armory Gun Shop in Princeton. Quality, knowledge, honesty. Take your firearm experience to the next level and see how the new ownership at Armory Gun Shop is making a difference for the local gun owner. Located on North Harrison Street with hours of operation listed on the Armory Gun Shop Facebook page. Their mission is to provide quality products at fair prices with knowledge you can trust.
There's good news in the fight against heart disease. The cardiology clinic at Caldwell Medical Center features a highly trained team of heart health specialists and years of experience in cardiac health and wellness. From stress tests and echocardiograms to cardiac rehab and sleep studies, our specialists provide a wide range of cardiac-specific services, all right here close to home. To schedule an appointment, call 270-365-0350 or visit caldwellmedical.com.
At the Edge Media Group, we know it's a challenging time, something none of us has ever experienced. Be safe and take care of others. If you can, keep a friend's child while they work. See to it that the elderly have food, and continue to support our locally owned businesses. Do a home project. Buy that new furniture, tool, or vehicle you've been wanting. Buy a local restaurant gift card and pick up or use the drive-thru. Our local businesses are more reliant on you now than ever. If we work together, we'll all get through this, and we'll come out even stronger than ever.
You've been listening to your WPKY News Edge. Find news 24 hours a day at WPKYonline.com.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. President Trump has signed a coronavirus relief bill providing paid sick leave for affected workers, free testing for everyone, more food aid, and unemployment benefit money for states. There are 150 deaths from the virus reported in the U.S., with 2 members of Congress among 9,400 reported cases.
Representatives Mario Diaz-Balart of Florida and Ben McAdams of Utah both have coronavirus and are recovering at home. Diaz-Balart, a Republican, says he developed a fever and headache last weekend and is starting to feel better. McAdams, a Democrat, says he's experiencing fever, cough, and labored breathing.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. In China,
for the first time since the coronavirus outbreak began more than 2 months ago, China counting no new cases in the epicenter city of Wuhan in its latest daily tally. A few weeks ago, they were reporting thousands every day.
Fox's Simon Owen. America's listening to Fox News.
W277CK Princeton.
Time to take a look at community news here on 1580 103.3 WPKY. This morning's community news is brought to you by Community Medical Clinic.
Well, Northside Baptist Church will not hold services this Sunday, March 22nd. They will, however, have their service on the Facebook page available at 10:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. Calvary Baptist Church, all Sunday and Wednesday services are being canceled for March 22nd and next Wednesday, March 25th, as Sunday morning and Sunday evening services will be broadcast on their website, www.calvaryofprinceton.com. And then Mount Zion in Katawa has suspended services until it's safe to resume. You can also watch their sermons on Mount Zion's website.
Well, due to circumstances, Midway has decided to call off services for Sunday. Cedar Bluff will not have services through next Wednesday, but hopefully will be on Facebook on Sunday, so check out their Facebook page. Chapel Hill Baptist in Princeton has temporarily suspended services until it's safe to resume. Princeton First Baptist will be dismissed Sunday. They will have regular services presented live on Facebook.
Well, Fredonia Cumberland Presbyterian Church, all services are canceled for 2 weeks. Ogden Memorial is closed as well. Christ Tabernacle Church will be doing all services online. And Sugar Creek Baptist Church, the women's tea for this Saturday is canceled. However, they will remain open this Sunday with morning service at 11 a.m., Sunday school at 10:30. And then Walnut Grove Baptist Church will be closed.
First Christian Church Princeton, no yoga classes or choir practice next week, and Knights of Columbus Fish Fry has been postponed for the next 2 weeks. The Caldwell County Lion Baptist Association Bible School Clinic has been rescheduled for April the 23rd.
Well, the Caldwell County 4-H program will be conducting a 4-H photography contest for the next 3 weeks. Each week will be a different category related to the state 4-H photography category. 1 entry per person. Week 1 contest is related to the natural resources category. Entries must include name and age of youth with entry. Now, you can call Rhonda Jewell for more information at the Caldwell Extension Office with questions, 270-365-2787.
Well, you know, while some stores are running a little low in the protein aisle, Caldwell County FFA wants to remind everybody that guess what? They'll have locally raised sausage available. Normal pricing still applies. $20 for 6 pounds or 2 pounds for $7. No, is that right?
That's a 2-pound roll.
Yeah, for $7. So you get 6 pounds for $20 or a single 2-pound roll for $7. All proceeds benefit the local FFA chapter. You can contact Megan Woods or Russ York with your order.
Now, the local senior citizens care facilities are asking community members and local children to write letters or send cards to residents. Now, due to the recent restrictions of visitation during this time, the lack of visitors and communication can be difficult, especially for our elderly. The residents would love to receive them. So if maybe that's a great project for your church organization, Sunday school classes that aren't necessarily getting together, they could actually write cards and letters to our senior citizens at these facilities in all of our local communities. Call your local facility to get specifics on what is acceptable to send.
Yeah, and if your middle school child needs paperwork, copies of work, school supplies, or belongings from their lockers, you may pick up any items weekdays from 10 to 3 at the Caldwell County Middle School.
I will say the Caldwell County Middle School band director, Mason Henry, said that if a student is needing their instrument to practice at home and do that sort of thing, that if you'll call him ahead of time, he will be available to get that ready for them to take home between 10 and 3 weekdays as well. Now, if you have something going on, if you have a cancellation going on, or if you say, you know what, mine didn't get canceled, this is still going on, make sure that you email that to us, get it to us so that we can add it to our community calendar. And again, those cancellations, if you had something that you were doing, you probably need to let us know so that we can let everybody know that it's canceled, okay? WPKY online at gmail.com.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Jeff Russo, attorney at law.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. Make sure you have your umbrella or raincoat as you're heading out the door today. There is a 60% chance of rain and thunderstorms. We could even see some severe weather this afternoon and into the evening hours. We're going to warm up to 72 degrees. Then tonight, more rain and thunderstorms in the forecast, low around 64. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and thunderstorms, high around 66. And Saturday, mostly sunny and cooler conditions with a high around 48. But again today, 60% chance of rain and thunderstorms, high around 70.
Some people just have a knack for being there when you need them the most, like your third grade classmate who sticks up for you against that bullet, the neighbor who gives you the jump start, and the friend who chases away that flock of geese at your outdoor wedding. Your State Farm agent has your back, too, through good times and the not so good. And who's got your agent's back? State Farm, the company people have trusted for more than 90 years. We're here to help life go right. Call State Farm agent Barkley Hudson at 270-365-7521.
Health First Community Health Center is concerned about your overall health and the well-being of our communities. To help stop the spread of viruses, good hygiene is essential. That starts with washing your hands with soap and water. Together, we can help stop the spread and stay healthy. For more info or to make an appointment for care, call our office at 270-365-9445. Dr. Jamie Perry and Chelsea Akins are accepting new patients at 1100 South Jefferson Street, Princeton.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street, Princeton.
Fortner Gas is featuring their amazing mower sales and service team at the KDIZ location. Tim Cook, manager, and his staff can take care of all your mower needs, any brands, with their full service department. Fortner Gas is a certified dealer of Dixie Chopper, Big Dog, and Bobcat mowers. All have great warranties. They also offer free delivery and pickup, and customers can drop off or pick up mowers and parts at the home office in Princeton, free of charge. Check out Fortner Gas to be ready for the upcoming mowing season.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
Imagine if there were a place you could go to buy gift certificates to some of the best businesses in town. Now, imagine all those great gift certificates priced 30, 35, 40%, and at times over 60% or more off retail every day of the week. The Loyal Listener Big Deal Store is online and waiting for you to shop and buy gift certificates to local businesses. Go to WPKYonline.com.
It's time for your SportsEdge.com Sideline Report with Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY and worldwide at WPKYonline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
And good morning, everyone. The Sideline Report is on the air from 1035 West Main Street in Princeton. A live show this morning. Got lots of people in the studio with us and going to get right to it on the show. Joining us, first of all, Roy Jean Rogers to talk about some Caldwell County basketball history. And Roy Jean, welcome back to the show. And
thank you very much.
We'll have a whole lot to talk about today. Also, Ty Englebright's with us.
Good
Hello,
morning.
Ty.
Good morning.
And also with us on the show today, joining us, Shane Burns from Murray State University. And Shane, your guys' season kind of got cut a little short, but thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Going to have a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the stoppages because of the coronavirus, but we're going to try not to focus on that too much today. As a matter of fact, before we came on the air, we were talking about marble racing. So
yeah, I don't know if anybody is participating in that, but that has become quite popular, I understand, with the stoppage of our major sports. So it'd be interesting to see if anybody's out there has gotten into marble racing and see how long it lasts after we get through this crisis.
I was telling you yesterday, I put a post on Facebook and the marble racing. It was just like a horse race, and this announcer was calling it, the blue marble's in front, and here comes the gray marble and everything.
Pretty exciting.
It was. I mean, it was going down a course. It looked like it was very, very long, and it was, and that and chess and all very exciting right now to watch.
Yeah,
just joking. Yes.
Kind of have to find some way to fill the sports need there.
And use your imagination, but it's out there. I've also seen several different types of tracks for marbles. The marble courses are different. They've got, I think I've actually seen some kind of not really like dirt tracks for them. And then, of course, the obstacle course type track. So
now this was a dirt track.
Yeah.
So that may be something we need to try here locally is marble racing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was some curling on TV the other night. If you had a chance to do a little channel surfing.
I enjoyed the rugby that was on ABC the other day. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I hope it's on again. I mean, I always watched the old Australian rules football. Remember when ESPN first aired?
That was great.
Australian rules football, rugby, pretty much hand in hand, the same thing. But I enjoyed the rugby match the other day.
And there was professional wrestling on last night, and a little weird because, this week, all the professional wrestling outfits are doing their shows without any fans.
Right.
Which is a little weird because, the fans are actually part of the show in professional wrestling, and it seems just a little strange when you look and they're trying to put on a show and there's nobody there to react to it.
Changing times, drastic measures are being taken.
And rugby might replace football, or marble racing might replace basketball or track and field. You just never know what's going to happen here.
You never know what's going to take hold.
You never know.
We need to get to a break here on the show, but lots more to come on the Sideline Report this morning here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
At ABC Finance, we have always been committed to keeping our customers and our staff safe and healthy.
In response to the recent COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak, we've implemented several new policies company-wide to ensure the safety and well-being of all.
This includes limiting access to parts of our office to the public, isolating loan closings to one area, and frequently sanitizing all hard, frequently touched surfaces.
We've also asked our staff to please stay home in the event they are feeling unwell.
If you, as a customer, are unwell or are uncomfortable with getting out of the house, stay home. And please remember, payments can be made by phone or online at abcfinanceonline.com.
You can also apply for a loan on our website with fast decisions and quick turnaround time.
If you have any additional questions, please contact the office nearest you. Locations are listed on our website, abcfinanceonline.com.
Also, follow us on Facebook for the latest information. And stay safe from all of us at ABC Finance.
Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz is the place to shop for delicious homemade goodness. Hancock's makes their own fresh chicken salad, pimento cheese, salads, and a variety of mouthwatering desserts sure to please your entire family. While at Hancock's, be sure to visit their meat department for the best selection of USDA choice meats in the area. Hancock's Neighborhood Market in Cadiz, hometown homemade goodness, and the Hancock name you know and trust for quality for your family. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz.
It's coming. Yes, spring is almost here. But at Bella Marie Boutique, you'll find spring all through the store. Adorable tops and dresses arriving almost every day. Perfect for spring break, Easter, date night, Mother's Day, and spring photo sessions. Stop in and get a cute UK t-shirt from AM Monogram. Lots of new spring tees have arrived in can jeans. Well, they can't keep them in stock. Bella Marie is the place to go for beautiful, affordable clothes. Find them in Princeton, Hopkinsville, Madisonville. Follow on Facebook and Instagram.
Stretch your tax dollars at Herb Hayes Furniture and Mattress in Hopkinsville with 12 months interest-free financing and savings up to 50% off. He'll even pay the sales tax for you. Herb Hayes Furniture and Mattress has a great selection of adjustable bed bases and mattresses. For a custom look, stop in and look at England, Craftmaster, or Lazy Boy for the furniture of your dreams. Herb Hayes Furniture and Mattress, where you always get the best selection, best furniture at the best price. Fort Campbell Boulevard, Hopkinsville.
Always the best.
We are back on the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for joining us this morning. We've got Roy Jean Rogers with us. Shane Burns is here. Ty Englebright on the show today. Jay Davis was going to join us today, but had to postpone that, and we'll try to get him on the show maybe next week or sometime in the future to talk about Collier County as well, about football officiating. He's the assigning secretary now for the second region. They've kind of redone the way they do football officials in the area, so we're going to get to talk about that.
And Jay's always got great sports stories, too. A lot of sports knowledge and quite humble about his own sports feats, but can't get him to talk about it. But usually when he comes and you can kind of get him opened up, he's got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
We did mention earlier the coronavirus. Everything's still canceled and leaves all of us trying to scramble to find some sports to watch. And the weird thing is, though, this week, if we had a full sports schedule, we would probably have lost it to the weather.
Exactly. We can't seem to get it to stop raining, but, maybe that's a sign of things to come. Maybe we won't have so much rain and get back to a normal pattern. I know we're going to see a little bit of sunshine on Saturday, so that's good news, yeah.
Today's the first day of spring.
That's exactly right.
Yes. So.
Good to have Shane on the show so he can talk about what happened there at Murray State University as all this came about. How were you guys informed that the season was going to, well, first of all, stop and then just end up being canceled altogether?
Yeah, I think all of it kind of just took place in all about 24 hours. We were practicing, I believe, that Wednesday or that Thursday. I forget what day that we had our team meeting that night. We just got back from playing North Alabama. It was really starting to find our groove. I didn't really think there was a series throughout the year that we didn't execute how we were. The first series, didn't turn out as planned, but I thought we executed some things that, we could help us in the long run. But I thought everything just kind of took off within a 24-hour period, and we was practicing, and the coaches called us in, and we've been seeing some things on the internet, what the OVC's doing, what the NCAA's doing, and he called us in. He said he didn't know anything quite. It's about 2 o'clock. He didn't know anything quite yet from the committees and what they had been deciding. And I say with about 45 minutes later, everything had been shut down. We had known that the NBA had suspended their season, the MLB suspended the spring training, and everything else was just suspending their seasons, putting it off. And we was like, man, we're next. And the SEC had already come out with the March 30th deadline, and obviously that's no longer the plan. But everything just kind of took place, and we was all in shock. We had a lot of seniors on the team that, they were just like, am I going to get my year back? And that's the question now, or is everybody going to get their eligibility back? And, it just kind of took a shot to us because I really thought we had the team to go the distance this year and win the OVC and have a chance at a regional title. And it just sucks, and it's unfortunate. And, you just can't take each game lightly, and you can't take it for granted.
Yeah, we were on the Sideline Report last Thursday, and at that point we're talking about how bad it was that they weren't going to allow fans at some of the games. And that all happened really quickly. We were talking to Larry Vaught from Nashville, and he was the first one that brought up that, maybe the tournament down there would be canceled. And at the time, we're like, what?
Yeah.
But by Thursday afternoon, everything was gone.
It was gone. And, Shane brings it up. A lot of things, about the eligibility aspect of this is going to have to be sorted out. And you would hope that these athletes that missed this year, especially the seniors, will get that opportunity to play again, even if maybe they're taking classes online and graduate.
Yeah, that was it. I was going to ask if they're taking classes online to go ahead and graduate. I wonder if they'll have that last year of eligibility.
Well, so we got 3 or 4 seniors, or maybe 2 or 3 seniors on the team already that has to come back next fall and next spring, regardless of their eligibility with baseball. So they have to come back and finish their degree just because their degree takes longer or they're behind or whatever the case may be. So, for them to have, if they get that extra year of eligibility, I don't know why they wouldn't take it and still be in school just like a normal extra year. But the biggest thing is like me and Todd was saying earlier, these seniors coming out of high school, we can't pause them. There's only so much money. There's only so many roster spots that a D1 team's allowed, or the NCAA allows in general. And what are you going to do with those? You're going to, set them out and have 12 red shirts? And it's just kind of a domino effect down the line on how the recruiting process goes from here. And we'll see how it unfolds.
Yeah, the NAIA has already come out and said they will grant an extra year of eligibility to anyone affected by this, which I assume means all sports, all the way. But the NAIA is a little different. If you go to an NAIA school, you have 4 years of eligibility regardless of when you take them. At an NCAA school, as soon as you enroll, you have 5 years to play 4 seasons. So that kind of messes everything up. And, it'd be great to have those seniors and everybody else come back. And, Shane, I think you said if you had a chance, you'd take that extra year of eligibility if it came to you. But once you start bringing people back, you've kind of affected the people that were coming in, and every class has kind of gotten squeezed a little bit.
I was thinking basketball. What are you going to do with these recruits that are coming in? And will the NBA go ahead and draft some of those out of college this year that was going to go into the draft? So you brought up a good point there. What are you going to do with those red shirts? Are you going to red shirt those people, or what's going to happen to those?
And what do they do about the scholarship limitations? You can only have X number of scholarships on your team. Some tough decisions, and you hate it for players and coaches and fans. And Roy Jean, you can talk to this, but I don't think the average person realizes, and Shane can talk about it too, how much time and effort a coach puts into the season, a player puts into the season. It's not just an hour of practice a day and ball games. It's a lot of time.
Well, it's basically all year long. Shane and I, we were talking out in the lobby. Shane's group was the last group that really played collectively for me on Sporting Chance. And we were talking about some of the sayings, Roy Jean Rogers sayings that he said, but, free throw line high, and muscle memory, and free throws and layups win ball games, and make your man do what he don't want to do, all of those sort of things. And I can remember as freshman and even JV coach, we were going to Campbellsville during the summer, we were playing a lot of games. And it's nothing, and it's changed a lot since I got out. And it's more time consuming now because I know more films or watching more films. And so it is time consuming. And what I'm looking at is your coaches. They can't be in the gym. I know at the radio auction, our softball team was in there one night and the baseball team came in, and then all of a sudden, it's no, you can't be with your players. It's the dead period. And so what's going to happen to those players who can't get out and improve their skills? A lot of them, like Shane and Ty, and those that went on to college baseball, you got to spend that time on the field, in the batting cage, pitching, doing whatever. You got to keep that up. So I'm looking at some of these seniors and even some of the juniors that might have been looking at scholarships, and we've got a lot from Caldwell County on scholarships that may lose that for one reason or the other. They can't get out there with the coaches.
Shane, what did the coaches there at Murray State tell you as far as trying to keep yourself in shape and to work out a little bit?
At first it started out, they came out with a deadline of April the 3rd or April 4th. He's going to try to pick up back the season, however this disease spread. And, we was all kind of having the mindset of, we're going to stay on campus for these couple of weeks. We're going to continue to, go outside and do our throwing, our lifting and everything, because all the facilities and stuff were still open at that time. We just couldn't have a team practice. The coaches couldn't be involved. It had to be all on your own at that time. Well, like I said, as things progressed, everything, obviously campus is shut down now. There's no more classes. There's no, everything is shut down. So now we're all home. Everything is shut down for the year. So now it's, I guess, just kind of get ready for the summer. If there is any summer college leagues out there doing anything. So it's kind of tricky right now because like all the local gyms, everything's shut down. So the only thing that you can rely on right now is maybe going out and getting a run in, a jog to kind of keeping your stamina up for your body. But besides that, there's really not much you can do. You can go outside and throw, but it's just kind of on your own right now, and looking forward to, I guess, next fall or the next opportunity we get to play. So
now you do have a history with the Hoptown Hoppers, so maybe an opportunity there to play this summer if we finally get ball games started again.
Yeah, no doubt. I just got off the phone with Coach Skirk a couple days ago. He was wanting to know my plan of what I wanted to do with pitching and stuff, and I think I've thrown close to 20 innings this year with Murray to the 4 starts I had, and obviously that's not enough. Each year I'm usually consistent between 65, 75, 80 innings, whatever it depends. So obviously that's 60 innings right there that I need to try to get underneath my belt. And, with playing with the Hoppers a couple years back, that was an experience that helped me transition into the college level. But, I talked to him and I said, I want to stay close to home. I want to stay here. I want to work. I want to do the things that I want to do over the summer, but however, still get my work in. So if the opportunity presents itself with the Hoppers or any team in the OVL, the Chiefs or wherever that may be, I'll definitely take that opportunity and try to get some innings just to step back on the mound, even though, to work on my craft, to make sure when I go back to Murray in the fall, whenever that may be, that I haven't missed a beat yet just because those innings I lacked.
Some interesting times because of the coronavirus, and if anyone is wondering, we're practicing social distancing here in the studios.
Somewhat.
We're as far apart as we can get, so I got lots more to talk about on the show, though. Need to get to another break here, but we're going to talk about some basketball, some county history basketball, so stay with us on the Sideline Report here on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Rogers Pet Grooming.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. Cloudy conditions today with a 60% chance of rain and thunderstorms, warming up to 72 degrees. Overnight, more rain and thunderstorms in the forecast, not cooling down too much, low around 64. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of showers and storms, high around 66. And then Saturday, mostly sunny and cooler conditions with the high only getting up to 48. But again, today, a 60% chance of rain and thunderstorms, otherwise cloudy sky with the high around 72.
Imagine this. It's late at night, it's cold and dark, and you have a flat tire. One never knows when old Bessie's going to cause you problems. There's only one place to call, Wallace Towing and Recovery in Princeton. Wallace Towing and Recovery is a 24/7 towing and recovery service. You can count on Wallace Towing and Recovery to get you safe and back on the road or to a repair shop. Wallace Towing and Recovery will jumpstart your vehicle, change a tire, deliver gas, unlock a door, or haul it to the garage or scrapyard. Wallace Towing and Recovery has you covered in Princeton and surrounding areas. Call Wallace Towing and Recovery. Check them out on Facebook, and when you need a tow or roadside help, call Wallace Towing and Recovery at 270-963-9081.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground, covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
The Sideline Report continues here on 1580 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for joining us this morning. Ty Englebright sticking around on the show. Also, Shane Burns is with us. Roy Gene Rogers is here as well, and had a story on yoursportsedge.com this week about the three teams from this county that won regional championships back in 1954. That was Fredonia High School, 1963, Princeton-Dotson, 1964, Caldwell County. And Roy Gene, it's kind of tough to win a boys regional championship these days, but back then Caldwell County had three regional champions in an 11-year period.
The Fredonia team, we were just talking about that. I would have been 5 years old, and I remember, I think, traveling up. It would have been in Louisville, right?
It was at Memorial Coliseum in Lexington.
Okay,
that year.
Well,
okay. The Dotson year was at Louisville because they used to rotate.
I remember vaguely traveling in an old green Wasp, what it was called, car, and Mr.
You still got that, don't you?
Close. Mr. Howard Cartwright, they lived up above us, and Charles Cartwright was on that team. And I'll have to talk to my brother Donnie because I think he went, but I think we attended that game. But you look on that team, and we were talking, Ted Fagan was a manager of that team, and Mr. Hickey was the coach, and that's a name that's well known throughout the county. But Fredonia, I'll give you my memories of Fredonia. Well, we were talking off the air about what happened to that Fredonia team, and this story
it's a great story.
Well, this was the one that was told to me over the years, that they got up there and they had bananas, and they ate a lot of bananas. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but that kind of gave them the stomach ache, and they had a little problem. But, that was the story that was told to us. But Fredonia, I don't know. No, I know Shane wasn't there for the old gym. But when you came, we lived in Crider, White Sulphur, and we would come go into Fredonia to the ball games, and that was the thing you did. Fredonia, those gyms, those bleachers were packed. And you'd come into Tinker Johnson, where he used to live, right there at the bottom, right before you start up the hill to go into Fredonia. Well, you could smell that sulfur. I mean, that was it. That was Fredonia, the sulfur. Too bad our teenagers don't have to take showers in sulfur water now, because probably wouldn't have the coronavirus. But that, and then you're up here, and you got those radiators along the top of the bleachers. But those were the things, and like I said, if
you can smell that now, can't you?
I sure can. But the year I played, we had Joe Yates, Joe Fralick, Philip Fawn, Dougie Phelps, Larry Yancey, and myself. Larry, Dougie, and I were the seniors of that year. And we came back. You gave me the papers a while ago. We were 11-11. But there were things about those that you remember, and I don't know whether y'all, I'm sure some of the listeners, if we'd had a three-point line back then, we would have probably won the state, because we were so small, short, that we couldn't. And Shane, you were talking about short a while ago, right? That playing basketball, but we had to shoot from the outside. And that old crow's nest where the scoreboard, where they sit up there and took, those things bring back a lot of memories. But one of the things that I remember, if you remember Dick Tucker, okay, he was a pretty good sized man, and his wife June. And this is another story. I didn't witness this. I was supposedly in the locker room when it happened, but there was a referee that had made a couple of bad calls for us, and you got to understand that the Fredonia crowd is as bad as anyone would
Let's
say
call them
today.
passionate.
They were very passionate, and that Dick Tucker started across the gym to talk to this referee, and June was holding on to him, and she was being pulled across the gym. But those are stories that we like to remember. Whether they're true or not, those have been passed on down through the ages. But great memories at Fredonia. Throw this out. You and I were talking. As I told you, I called Rick Blackburn trying to get some information. Pam Rogers Fawn, Earl Freilich. Earl has a lot of things. Mike Rogers sent me. He has the scrapbook on the last 3 years of Fredonia there, all of those things. But I have some questions we're going to try to throw out here. The first game ever played in Caldwell County. Do you have any idea?
As far as basketball, I'm not sure, because when you get back to the early days, it's tough to tell exactly when they started.
And then
it wasn't always a big enough deal to be in the paper back then, because you have to understand that a lot of the old county schools just played outside on a dirt basketball court. So
and then what was the first game that WPKY broadcast live, and what was the first one that Willie? I was going to try to come down and talk to Willie and Twyman, but we got tied up at the Butler Gym, and I couldn't make it. But that was a question I had. That might be in y'all's archives. Is what was the first one that was actually recorded and then replayed? But those are, and throw this out. If you're listening and you have some pictures, Todd and I were talking about, he did this football book, history of Caldwell County football. And what we were looking at is trying to get some help from maybe Rick Blackburn, Pam Rogers Fawn, several jumping in and helping, because Todd doesn't really have the time to put together the history of basketball in Caldwell County. The other thing you brought out in one of the posts you had was Carlisle Tyree down at Shady Grove. Even those things. So if you've got some pictures, if you've got some articles laying around your house, please try to get in touch with some of us so that we can get those published.
Well, the Shady Grove thing is an interesting situation, because Shady Grove is actually across the line in Crittenden County. However, it used to be owned jointly or run jointly by the Caldwell County and Crittenden County school systems back in the day.
Did not know that.
Shady Grove played in the Caldwell County League. It was one of the teams that back in the 20s and 30s, it was actually part of Caldwell County. So that, in the story that I had on yoursportsedge.com, it actually mentions that Fredonia is the first school from the county to go to a state basketball.
Yes.
However, Shady Grove went back in the 30s.
Wow.
Also, Princeton
Dodson went as well, yes.
And before everything was, it used to be segregated. There was a Kentucky State Athletic League that the black schools played in. Dodson went to the state tournament in that several times back in the 20s and 30s and 40s. However, that was set up a little differently. You didn't, this end of the state was all the West Kentucky district. I think it was the West 41 is what they called it. But you didn't necessarily have to win your district to go to state. There was kind of an invitation thing there, too. If somebody else didn't come, you might get an invitation. So you didn't necessarily have to win the district, which was, their districts were kind of like our regions today. So,
but the Dodson Bearcats, you look at that picture, and those names that are on there are those are names that all of us that grew up around here during that period of time are familiar with. And Marvin Copeland, I guess, is the one that I'm most familiar with, acquainted with. And then, the next year the Caldwell County Tigers after the consolidation, and you have a lot of those repeats on that team. And stories, Mr. Henry Smith, of course, he was the custodian out there and helped just with everything. And lots of times Mr. Smith would come in my room if there was a crisis going on or something, and he'd say, let's pray. And we would have prayer, and then he told some stories about, those things. So great history, and we're losing so much of it. I mean, Willie and Twyman, both 90 years old, and the history that they've got. And Mr. Lee Oliver, he was telling me some things about Princeton and Caldwell County, and those things need to be preserved. So I would love to get some pictures and stories from individuals that have those that talking about basketball here in Caldwell County.
That was kind of the heyday, though, that 11-year run where this county won 3 championships. And I think most people would probably say that Dotson team in '63 was probably the best basketball team to ever come from this county.
I would, yes. Yeah. Yes. Now, Shane, we were talking out there. Shane was the last, like I said, they were the last group. I had, for Sporting Chance, I had high hopes for them, and then they all just go to baseball.
I told you the biggest thing was, I told you I'm 5'10", and you wanted me to play college basketball. I don't know if you've watched college basketball lately, but I don't think I would fit in. So I think baseball is a route that our class should have taken.
So you did good.
Besides Ty Ramey, he might have.
Ty was pretty tall, but the rest of you're correct. Very smart.
Well, if you're trying to earn a college scholarship in a sport, at some point you almost have to make a decision. You can't play everything. You have to. I mean, as much as we would like for everybody to play every sport, and the one thing I found interesting talking about the '63 and '64 basketball team here, of course, a lot of it was Caldwell County won its regional championship because the last year for Dotson was '63.
Yes.
Consolidation came, and almost everyone on that Dotson team, with the exception of Dwight Smith, who probably the best basketball player to ever come from this county, all those other guys. Marvin Copeland, Greg Smith, all those guys.
Scotty.
Yeah, Scotty Edwards.
Yeah, Scotty Edwards, yeah.
Those guys were at Caldwell County the next year, and not just for basketball, those guys were on the football team, and it's no coincidence that Caldwell County won a football state championship, in fall of 1963. So,
and, you go back several years, you had individuals, players playing every sport. Today, like you mentioned, that doesn't happen. You've almost got to make a decision, even in the middle school, you've almost got to make that decision that where you're going to go. You're going to go with baseball, softball, football, that one or multiple sports doesn't happen much anymore.
I'm not sure a lot of people, especially the younger generation, might know about a Dwight Smith. Probably would have been an NBA basketball star. Died tragically with his sister in an automobile wreck. Brother Greg survived. Actually went and won an NBA championship with the Milwaukee Bucks in 71, 72, somewhere around there. And played with some guys you might have heard of.
Maybe.
Lou Alcindor.
Yeah.
You might remember Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That was him. And Oscar Robertson. A lot of people say he was one of the best players ever.
There you go.
Did
all right for himself in the NBA.
So, yeah, and that is something that we need to preserve. A lot of people, maybe you're correct in saying a lot of the younger people don't know that. They don't know that we had some NBA stars. And who was it they was playing? Michigan?
When they were at Western Kentucky.
Yes, they were playing Michigan and Casey Russell. Who was it that... Was it Greg or Dwight was supposed to?
I think it was Greg, and they called Greg for a foul on a
jump ball.
Yeah.
I mean, how
ridiculous is that? I mean, but it's really neat. And you mentioned, we have this wonderful, rich football history here in Caldwell County. We know that. You put together the book. Yep. But boy, there's also a tremendous rich basketball history. And to see those pictures, Todd, that you put up on your Sports Edge and then in your Twitter feed of the Fredonia teams.
yeah.
I know my father-in-law, Major Brown, we talked about Major,
right.
and then I've heard stories about, he wasn't a very tall guy, but they could all shoot it. Like you mentioned, I think one game he had 41 points, and he's grinning there in that picture with all those other guys, Coach Hickey, and just really neat to see how these small town gyms and these teams, and then you mentioned there's no coincidence there. Princeton Dotson in '63, you have the consolidation, the integrate of the schools, and guess what? '64, same deal. You have that talent pool coming together.
Major Brown and Cartwright, Charlie Cartwright. There were several on that team that the consolidation from Crider. I mean, that's where Todd and I hail from, and the Browns were down there. So, you start looking at all these little schools, and Shane's looking over here to, Crider, what's Crider? So, but those are the little schools, and we need to preserve that for future generations.
Was there a Fralix on that Fredonia team at some point? When did that start happening? I mean, they were always around, but...
That would have been probably, that was a little later on, but there might have been a Fralick on that team as well. Yeah, but you're right. You got Peaks and Fralix and Phelpses.
Yeah, you got the Peaks and Fralix and those. It's neat, those names and those communities that you associate with the athletics too. That is really cool.
I was going to say, don't get the Western Kentucky folks started on that Western Michigan game, though, because the Hilltoppers, had they won that game, were going to play Kentucky in the next round, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there about what happened and why some calls went the way they did. We need to get to another break here on the show, but more to come. We'll be talking about the basketball histories of some of the other schools in the county as well, so stay with us on the Sideline Report on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Black Patch Grill.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. Make sure you have your umbrella or raincoat as you're heading out the door today. There is a 60% chance of rain and thunderstorms. We could even see some severe weather this afternoon and into the evening hours. We're going to warm up to 72 degrees. Then tonight, more rain and thunderstorms in the forecast, low around 64. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and thunderstorms, high around 66. And Saturday, mostly sunny and cooler conditions with a high around 48. But again today, 60% chance of rain and thunderstorms, high around 70.
We at Edge Media Group understand these are unprecedented times. Concerns about the COVID-19 virus are impacting all our lives. We agree with our health departments to remember the 3 C's. Remain calm, stay sensible, and be smart as you go about your daily routine. Stay clean. Washing hands is a must for at least 20 seconds with warm water and soap. Practice good personal hygiene. If you cough or sneeze, do so in your elbow. Avoid touching your face or shaking hands. Cooperate. We are all in this together, and we must cooperate with each other and government officials. Be kind to each other. Remember our local businesses at this time. They're all going to be affected. There's no way to know how long they will have to deal with this economic uncertainty. Order takeout or delivery food from our local restaurants and tip extra. Our servers are already seeing a reduction in pay. This radio station will keep you informed with the facts that you need to know to stay safe in this community. Unlike social media, our trained journalists will make sure it's right before we go to air. We will also be updating our websites with the latest information available. We are not in a crisis unless we create one of our own. We are in a state of prevention.
The Sideline Report continues here on 1580 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for joining us today. Shane Burns is with us. Roy Gene Rogers is here. Ty Englebright is here. Been talking about some of the basketball history in Caldwell County, and there's a lot of it. These days, you only think of the one school, Caldwell County High School, and the Tigers, but back in the day, you had lots of schools in the county. Fredonia School, Roy Gene, I believe, was actually opened in 1911, but I've never quite been able to find out exactly when they started playing basketball. And a lot of the county schools back in the day, the late teens and then the early 20s, is kind of when basketball got going around here.
Well, we've been talking about Carlisle, Tower, and Shady Grove, and we were talking about the height that he had back then. Well, it was a jump ball after every score.
Right.
So if you had someone 6'4", 6'5", and you had that jump ball after every basket made, then you could pretty well dominate. So those are things that we go back and look. I don't know, when did we start the rotation of not jumping the ball?
1937.
37.
Wow.
Actually, I think that was Carlisle Towery's last year in high school. Was the last year they actually had the center jump after each made basket. So,
that would be something. And you talking about playing on dirt,
right?
We've got pictures of I think one of the Farmersville teams that was playing on an outside court. So a lot of things have changed over the years, but we do have a lot of rich history. Nearly every community had a school, and just about every one of them participated in basketball because we didn't have the football. We didn't have and you and I have talked in the past about baseball. That was a Sunday afternoon leisure sport. Crider, nearly every community had them a baseball team, but
that was more of a community thing.
That wasn't a high school
thing.
No. So lots of things going on. The basketball, I know you've got a list there of a lot of those schools that have been in this county that played basketball.
Well, Fredonia made it until 1971-72. Of course, it still had a grade school after that, but that was into the high school. Flat Rock, Roy Jean, you're familiar with that area.
Right.
School there went until 1940-41. Best year was 1933-34. They went 21-5 that year. District runner-up in the 13th district at the time. Milton Traylor was the head coach, and he later went on and won the regional championship at Crofton a few years later. So one thing I found interesting in looking at the county histories is you see a lot of names of the coaches pop up in a lot of different places.
My coach was Gerald Tabor. He was originally from Union County, and I noticed on this in 1996, he led the Union County girls to the state title.
Yeah, state championship.
So, that throwback a little bit.
Cool.
And I've always tried to stay in contact with him up until the last, in the 1990s. We were very proud for his accomplishment there, but he was my coach. He was coach of Fredonia for 2 years. So.
I believe the Union County teams actually play on Gerald Tabor Court.
They do.
Okay.
And I think it's Doug Hines' gym up there, so they've actually honored a couple of coaches they had a long time with the basketball. Farmersville last year was 1942-43. Actually, a couple of district championships for Farmersville. In 1938-39, they went 23-12. In 1933-34, they were 19-16 under Rube Thurston, and those teams were known as Rube's Red Ramblers back in the day because they had the reddish jerseys, and had some pretty good teams at Farmersville. Which Farmersville, I believe, is another one that played on an outdoor court.
Yes, and there were the church back in that area. We've got several pictures of Farmersville from Aunt Nell Watson and others that were in that area. So Farmersville, we've got a lot of pictures, several pictures, not a lot, but a lot of good memories for those people back in, you start mentioning Farmersville and those people down there kind of perk up. Same thing with Flat Rock, Fredonia. Yeah.
One thing that was prevalent back in the day, it seems, schools burned a lot. I guess a lot of buildings burned, but I know the Farmersville school, that's kind of how it came to an end. The school burned in March of '43, and the high school was transferred to Fredonia.
Yes.
And same thing with Cobb. Cobb School actually burned down twice. The last year was 1945-46. The school burned down in November of '45. Newspaper at the time said students finished the year at Butler, but in separate classes from the Butler students. However, I later found out from some other people that some of those students ended up at Fredonia as well.
I believe that is correct. You're talking about the schools burning. I guess that's because of the wood heat, the coal stoves in there. I know students wouldn't do that because it just, they love their school too much.
Well, just, at one time you could pretty much put together a schedule of games and never really leave the county.
Yeah.
There were actually standings in the papers back in the 20s and 30s, and you'd occasionally get that mention that, games this week were rained out. And again, basketball games that were rained out.
When you start mentioning those schools, most of those schools, or a lot of those schools, had girls' teams.
Yes, they did originally.
Yes. And so, the female girls' basketball is not new. That was back in the 1930s, and a lot of it.
Friendship had a team, the Friendship Quakers. School was located out on Hopkinsville Road. 1942-43 was the final year for the high school. And when I mention these final years, those are mostly high schools because a lot of those communities had grade schools that went on, elementary schools that went on for several years after that. The Fredonia School lasted for a long time. I remember when I was in middle school, we went to Fredonia to practice on the 8th grade team.
Right.
And school was still going on down there then.
Mr. Chick Walker, the first year, first couple years, I guess I started, George Kukahiko was helping, and Mr. Chick Walker, and I know Dennis Stevens has told some stories on the air about us coming back from Fredonia, and they were a little rowdy, so we stopped at Crider and had them running around the bus for about 30 minutes. And then I think at the regional tournament he was talking about they were throwing oranges, and that, they had to pay the price for that as well. So a lot of, like I say, Mr. Chick Walker, Mr. Kukahiko, those were the early coaches that I helped. And you were talking about the Butler and the story that you and I were talking about at the radio auction.
Yeah, the old Butler gym down in the basement. Tell everybody, first of all, that you're listening to the Sideline Report on WPKY Princeton. Thanks for joining us this morning. And, man, I wish we had another hour to go with this, but we don't. But I do want to get this story in. The old Butler gym down in the basement. Mm-hmm. When I was in school there, and it was the middle school, used to hear that the basement was haunted. And, of course, when you're, whatever you are then, 11, 12 years old, you don't think a lot of those stories, somebody trying to scare you. But as you go on and listen to more and more stories and more people tell the story, you wonder a little bit, because actually a girl did die in the basement at Butler in the old gym down there, which when Butler opened in 24, it had the big gym in the basement, and at the time that was one of the better gyms around. I mean, a lot of schools didn't have a gymnasium. But young lady, 16 years old, Frances Pasture, she's buried up in Cedar Hill Cemetery, actually died during a basketball game, and apparently from heart failure. And I even wonder if that's one of the reasons why later on the KHSAA no longer sanctioned girls basketball, because at the time, the prevailing thought was that the sport was too strenuous for females. And of course we know now that's not accurate, but back then that's what the thought was. And but the whole point of the basement being haunted has kind of come up more than once.
And those are the stories that we would like to gather. If you have a story, contact Todd, myself, get in touch with us so that we can have those documented or have them saved for future generations.
But I always found that interesting, and you can actually go back in the yearbook. She's mentioned in the yearbook, and pretty
that story's
significant
carried
event.
on for a good while. Someone asked me about it recently here in the station. Heather asked me about it, and I said I'd heard that. I couldn't remember the lady's name. You came in and kind of clarified some of that, but that is interesting. So hope this basketball book comes to fruition. It'll be really neat. So.
Well, there's a whole lot of basketball history to talk about. Like I said, these days you don't think about it as much, but there was a time when the county was right there. Again, 3 regional championships in 11 years. Fredonia in 54, Dodson in 63, then Caldwell County High School in 64. Fun times back then for basketball fans in the area.
It was. And that is, as Ty said, we are a football community now. But back then, basketball, so love to preserve that history.
Wish we had more time to talk about it, but it looks like we're out of time on the show. Roy Jean, thanks for coming in, and we'll have to have you in again to talk some more about this. And Shane, good luck this summer, and thanks for coming in and being on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Ty. Appreciate it.
That's Shane Burns. And Ty, thanks for sticking around and being on the show this morning.
Good to be around on the Sideline Report, Todd, always.
That's going to wrap us up on the show today. Thanks for listening. This has been the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
The voice of Caldwell County. We're 1580, 103.3 WPKY, Princeton.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. In the last 24 hours, about a third more coronavirus cases and deaths reported in the U.S. Now at 150 deaths, more than 9,400 cases. Some of that jump due to more testing being available. A coronavirus relief bill passed by the House and Senate, signed into law by the president. A planned next step, cash payments to individuals, with details still being worked out. Among the shutdowns now, bars, nightclubs,